Here we go, The Secret Lake, Karen Inglis, and we are on chapter 10. About turn. Tom and Stella emerged, squinting out of the little hole deep inside the bushes. Stella looked at her watch. It was almost 4 o'clock, 6 hours after they had gone down. "Look, Tom, our lunch boxes." She tried to sound cheerful as she peered out towards the log. "At least Mom and Dad can't have been out." They picked up the lunch boxes and hurried out into the lawn where the sound of their mother's piano playing danced on the afternoon breeze. A lump rose up in Stella's throat. How abruptly their dream had turned into a nightmare. And now as she looked all around the garden, she could only imagine how it might have been with Emma there. Tom stared at the grass in despair. Each step took him further away from the possibility of helping Jack. How could they do this? How could they abandon Jack after he'd been so kind to them? As their garden gate came into view, his heart skipped a beat. He stopped dead. But Stella, what about Jack's father? He might die if Jack doesn't go back. We've got to go back and help him. Tears of frustration clouded Stella's eyes. "Are you mad, Tom? Do you know how lucky we were to get away just then? They'll be searching that garden high and low for us right now. Besides, if the tunnel disappears again, then what? What about us? What about Mom and Dad?" As she turned and walked toward their gate, her heart sank at the hopelessness of it all. Tom didn't move. All he could hear were Jack's cries echoing inside his head. Then, as if from nowhere, a passion took hold of him and swelled through his body, urging him to turn around and go back. Stella, lost in a world of her own, was almost at their back door. Tom cupped his hands each side of his mouth and called to his sister. "Jack risked his life for us, Stella, and I'm not going to leave him there to die." He turned and started running towards the island, overcome with a sense of elation. "It's now or never," he shouted to the treetops. "It's now or never." Suddenly, he didn't care whether Stella was coming or other people might hear him, nor, for that matter, did he care that Charlie Green was giving him one of his strange looks from a distant flower bed. He must do this. He must do this for Jack and for Jack's father, Jacob. Stella reached for the kitchen door handle. "There it is," she breathed, spying her friendship bracelet. She swallowed hard as she slipped it off the door handle and onto her wrist. What a perfect present it would have made for Emma, something she could have traveled back and forth through time with. She knew that Hannah would approve once she explained everything. The bracelet would join all three of them across time and distance. Something made her start. She spun around. Tom had been yelling at her, but she had been so absorbed in her own thoughts, she hadn't been listening. "It's now or never," came an echo through the trees. "Now or never." To her horror, she just caught sight of the back of Tom disappearing onto the island. It was difficult to see inside the rhododendron bush without Stella's torch, and Tom had to scramble about for several seconds, feeling for the hole. For a terrible moment, he thought it was gone. But then, as his hand slipped over the edge,